Welcome to QueenGastroPodcast, the official podcast of the unofficial ambassadors of the city of Eugene, the Slug Queens. This is your chance to take a peek under the tiaras and get to know the people behind the personas and the community issues that we're all involved in and find important. I am Leanne Joshua, aka Queen Glow. And I will be your host for this set of podcasts with the Queens. We're hoping that you can learn a little bit and feel stronger about your community and just learn more about what's going on that maybe you're not aware of. And I am so happy today to have one of my favorite queens and a really good friend, Old Queen Holly Go Slugley, aka Debbie Williamson Smith, is here today. Believe it or not, she's hiding somewhere.
Um, it's gonna come on oh, here we go. Oh, wait. Oh.
Oh,
Today to talk to you a little bit
may the
about
force be with
joining the
you.
resistance. May the force be with you.
So we're talking today about resistance and our role in it. So why don't you just start off? Because I know you're doing so many things and you have such interesting takes on them.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm Gen X, and I'm sorry, I was born for this. Like,
Hey,
I've
I'm
waited
baby boomer and I was
my
born for it.
entire life to be Princess Leia, excuse me, to the Star Wars, true Star Wars aficionados out there. I just wanted to talk to you about kind of what's been dominating my time, I think your time, hopefully our nation's time, and that is joining the resistance. And I want to talk first about finding joy, because fascists don't want us to have fun.
Now,
And
that's a bumper sticker.
that is a bumper sticker. It's how we'll fund the resistance.
But that's right. You're absolutely right. If we're having fun, we're more motivated.
Absolutely, absolutely. And fun is even in times of hardship. It's part of the life that makes it worth living and worth fighting for. And uh for those of you watching or listening at home, I asked Leanne to introduce me blind because I needed to hear her reaction because other people's joy is your fuel. Let's soak that up. And one joyous act spreads to another. So we can all find those little happinesses, moments that help keep us fueled and going.
I'm totally on board with that. I mean, so we just did my Fork the Patriarchy show on Saturday.
Okay.
And one of our comedians brought pink forks with ribbons that you could decorate to be LGBTQ or Ukraine flag or trans. And all of the comedians were hysterical. And we raised $475 for Planned Parenthood. So there's no reason you can't combine the joy and the activism.
No, not at all. And look at how well we've aged. I've got readers on.
I
And
know, I knew you before you needed them.
I know, right? You knew me when. Uh, but I love what you're just talking about. You found a theme, you found a cause, and I know you are like me, and like we have a lot of causes. And so I really want to talk to our listeners about how do you find the issues that matter most to you? Because we cannot do it. One person cannot do everything. We're starting to sing a choir. That means everyone gets a turn to rest. But there are things that must motivate you. For me, trans rights is huge. I am very a big proponent of food for all. I want everyone to eat. And I'm
Really, is that unreasonable?
apparently it makes me radical.
It
Who knew? Who
makes you a
knew?
bleeding heart if you think everybody should have food.
I know, I know. Oh my goodness. What does the world come to when we're weaponizing empathy? And so I just want everyone to just kind of think about like what makes your heart beat. And that is your first lane. Like, I'm very passionate about deconstructing whiteness in America. So I've been doing a lot of work with a deconstructing whiteness group on campus. I volunteer with Showing Up for Racial Justice, Springfield, Eugene. I want to talk to other white people about unpacking their privilege, how they can use their privilege to help others. And so through that desire, I've been able to find a group like Springfield Eugene Surge, show up and start to meet other people. Um, and there are times when I want to do everything. I want to make every call every day about every issue, about every article that I read, every news flash. But at my core, there are things where I know my skills and my voice will carry the most weight. And how I want to encourage everyone. How did you find your lane? You have lots of lanes too.
I do have lots of lanes, and your admonition to remember that you can't do it all is really important to me because I consistently have to tell myself that. But animal rights has always been huge for me, and the environment. I mean, my first protest was in 19 whenever the first Earth Day. I was there for the first Earth Day. So my environmental roots are really deep and strong. And as you know, I love to be out in nature every day. And so anything that has to do with nature and the planet and animals. And then I'm also a big supporter of women's rights because I walked out of history class in the 10th grade because we weren't learning about women. I just didn't understand why we were not learning about women, and also trans rights because that's women's rights too, and there's
What?
human rights. And so but I do have to try really hard to avoid all these other things because they're also important to me, but they're not my heart.
Right,
And
right.
I think one of the things that happens when you follow your heart is it gives you more courage to move past your boundaries because you're comfortable in the space. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're in another space, you're kind of holding back and you're not as much of a leader. But if you're in a space where you at least feel like that is your space, you're more likely, and you've done that.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely try, and I think that comes with as you're finding where your heart is, you're also building your community and finding your community, and you find like-minded voices. And I found this in 2017. There was one morning after the inauguration, and I was home by myself. I hadn't planned anything with friends. There was a plant rally to support Planned Parenthood, and I am an extroverted extrovert. Like, you do not get any more social than me, but I am cautious. I'm not good at going by myself. And I had to boost up my courage and be like, this is it. Like, you can't not go. This is the first big thing. And I put on my sparkly pink Converse, and my cat is making an appearance. And
Always.
I walked down to the rally by myself. And what I was rewarded with was I think I got a hug from you. I'm pretty sure I
You
did.
did.
I got a hug from multiple friends, and I was reminded that I am not alone. And so even when your passions, even when you are like doing something different or trying it, you're building your community as you find where your heart goes and you're starting to resist.
And you
And
feel that
women's rights are,
support, which gets you to the next level. It's funny that you said the 2017 because that is when I converted Bleep and Funny, January 2017, into fundraisers. And so every show we have done since January 2017 has raised money for ACLU and Black Lives Matter and NAACP and trans rights and human rights. I mean, and it's like for me to find comedians who were willing to do that, to set aside getting even drink money so that we
yeah.
donate all the money, I feel so embedded in community because that they're willing to do that so that we could make donations on their behalf.
Well, and that's something else I just wanted to remind everyone, like small acts are big acts. Like giving up your drink money so that you can give it to Planned Parenthood may feel small, but it is a big act. My cat is going crazy. Everyone meet Archie. She just got
Oh, in the
fixed.
cone of shame.
I know. She looks like R2D2 though, right?
She's
Uh,
a good icon for the resistance because she's resisting her cone of
yes,
shame.
100%. 100%. And there are so many different small acts that you can do. And I hear people in the community and they talk about, like, I feel alone, which you're not, or I feel hopeless. And if you are feeling hopeless, I just really feel like you're not taking action. And actions can be at anything. It could be making a phone call, writing an email, checking on the neighbor next door whose name you can't remember, but they may have had like differing opinions in the past.
Mhm.
Like this is beyond politics at the moment. This is about your neighbor. This is about your
Right.
family. This is about community. Uh, every act is important, and we need at this time more than ever to connect with hands and faces and hearts and eyes and hugs. I will say the best thing about uh since January 20th or 21st, I can't remember, day 63. The best thing since in the past 63 days has been the hugs. I have gotten the best hugs running into people at the grocery store. I went to a beautiful funeral service yesterday, which was tragic, but the hugs were so good. Like the hugs were so.
Yeah. Well,
Have you?
I know one of the first things that I did when this administration took office the second time was to create a little neighborhood group. And we have met twice, but we text a lot, and we didn't all know each other. I was the only one who knew everybody in the group. And now everybody knows each other. And we found out one of our other neighbors is in late stage dementia, and nobody knew this, and she lives alone. And one of the members of the group has contacted her daughter to be more present in her life to try to take care of that. We've been offering advice to another neighbor down the street who was helping an elderly neighbor who passed away last week. But we were thanking him for his generosity of spirit to do that for her. So it just feels like you're absolutely right that face to face and knowing a name and knowing you can count on people. I've always been able to count on my neighbors across the street. We always exchange favors and goods, but the other
Yeah.
people were just kind of people I knew, and now we're more than just people we know. We're supporting one another.
Yeah, that's just so important. My neighbor called me this morning when I was leaving for work because he thought he saw a hawk flying over our backyard and he wanted to make sure my chickens were okay.
Oh, the
I
sweet.
mean, he cares enough about my chickens. I was like, how lucky am I? And I went and scoured my backyard and I'm shouting over my fence. I'm like, thank you, Will. Like, that like it made I was carried through the entire day by that one act of selflessness, which was really, I'm going to take a moment and call somebody and just let them know that something might be wrong.
And that's a good example of your small acts. It was a tiny thing for him to do, but it made a big impact on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of my other favorite small acts, and this all goes along with like feeding people, is Burrito Brigade has organized 55 little free pantries all over the community. The whole program is neighbors helping neighbors. There's no hours. You can go anytime and open a pantry and see if there's food inside. There are some very heavily trafficked pantries. Make a PB&J sandwich on your way to work and leave it in a pantry. I guarantee you, if you're hitting anything near the parks, that sandwich is going to be gone in less than 30 minutes. And anytime you can give someone just a little boost of physical energy, you're going to fill their soul and yours.
And Burrito Brigade is such a good example of people in the community just working so hard. They've been one of our beneficiaries of Bleepin' Funny several times because so support what they do. They're so good at making sure that people get fed regardless of their circumstances. If you're
Yeah.
hungry, you can eat. It doesn't matter, where you are on the socio-political scale, where you are on whether you have good mental health. You should be able to eat if you're hungry, and Burrito Brigade really does that well.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be on their board. And for those who might be facing food insecurity, they also run a free grocery store program called Waste to Taste, where you can make an appointment and you can go in and shop whatever foods they have available for free. So it's like a food box, but you get to pick out the things that you want or that you like and take them to
That's
go.
great
So
because we don't want people wasting food that's been given to them because they don't like it, because you shouldn't be forced to eat certain things just because you're poor.
no, no. And it's all great insight into some of the ways that our government might be a little broken, like our food
Might
program.
and little,
You know,
very carrying a very heavy load right there in that.
totally, totally. Gentle words, gentle words. I know sometimes it's hard to like not say the thing you're really thinking, right? So write that in your journal and then be kind and curious.
Well, and another way that you can help neighbors that you may not know, which is kind of what the Little Free Pantry does, is like the Lane Mutual Aid Network, where people
They're
reach out.
amazing.
I love them because, you read a story of a woman who's escaping with her kid from a domestic violence situation in another state, and she just needs some silverware and some bowls. And it's like,
Yes.
I can go to St. Vinny and buy some silverware and bowls and donate it to this person, and it makes you feel good, and you've really helped someone along their journey.
Yeah, the local Lane County Mutual Aid Facebook group is one of my favorite
And
places to go.
even
Like,
buy nothing.
don't buy me coffee. Like, give a stranger $5. Like, you just never know what's going to be the windfall that turns their moment around. And again, that just speaks to my privilege that I have community around me. I have someone I could go to. Not everyone is as blessed as that. So you can be the community for someone you don't know. You don't have to be related to people to help people,
Or
right?
know them, if, even
Or
if
know them.
passing by.
The
Right.
Share Fair, I think, is coming up in April, and that's another amazing
Yes.
event where if you have stuff in your house which you're not using, and let's be honest, we all do, you can donate that.
I particularly like the stuff you don't even know you have. It's been so long since you've seen it, you didn't even realize this was one of your possessions.
Totally, totally, totally. Yes.
Well, that's one of the things I am trying to help the man who was helping the woman who passed away in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Told him that I'd be willing, if he wants to share like kitchen supplies and stuff, I'd be willing to make sure the donation worked through County Mutual Aid so he doesn't have to learn all of that process, because he's got enough on his hands trying to do all the stuff that he's doing.
See, well, and that ties back right to where we started, like finding your lane, right? Like, what skills do you have? What time do you have? What passions do you have that align with the passions and the work that someone else is doing? Like, what a great outreach you two are doing.
Well, I'm a strong believer in empathy. That's why I weep all the time, because my heart is right there. It's right on my, we're somewhere on my arm. And to see him being so empathetic to her just really turned on my empathy for him. And it's like,
Yeah.
I've gotten to know him, and I didn't really know him except in passing, waving, and now we know each other. And
Yeah.
it's delightful. Well, I know that you also probably want to put a plug in for what's happening on April
What?
5th, because we're both going to be, oh my God. And were you prepared?
Kind of prepared. This is flyer number one. I am so excited to invite everyone down to Eugene City Hall on Saturday, April 5th. This is the flyer that was done by my friends at 50 51. Everyone says it different. Some people are like 5501. I like 5051.
Yeah, as long as you put
There.
that space before the one so we know it's not 51.
Totally. They're doing some amazing work. They're organizing a national rally. And the best part about this for me is they are organizing a national rally with so many other groups. Now, I mentioned I'm active with Springfield Eugene, showing up for racial justice, but I'm also, ooh, my hot light is getting hot. What is this? Like fancy? See, technology for Gen X. Here we go. I got a ring light. I'm going to be an influencer next.
I have a
Indivisible.
1970s track light
Oh,
because
see,
I'm a
you were
boomer.
Queen Glow. You were a trendsetter.
So you were talking about the other organizations that are helping
Yes.
with the events.
So Indivisible Eugene, another great group to get involved with.
That's what I'm working with.
The Lavender Network, Trans Alliance of Lane County, Calc, Beyond Toxics. There's about 10 other groups. We are all uniting our forces to get together at City Hall on Saturday, April 5th. I encourage everyone to just watch social media. I think all of the news will start trickling out. We'll be putting flyers up all around town. And I just hope that everyone shows up to fight for what they want to fight for.
I do
Uh,
too. I think it's a great opportunity. We've been building, I've been to 7 rallies and marches so far since the beginning of the year, and they've been building. And so I was really pleasantly surprised how many people were at the Save Our Post Office rally yesterday. It was really nicely turned out.
nice.
And so we need to keep building that momentum and show up in numbers so that nobody can ignore us. And we feel our strength. The reason I go is I feel hopeful because there are other people doing things. And if I ever feel like I'm alone, all I have to do is show up at a rally. It's like, I'm so not alone.
Exactly. You are not alone. We are not alone. And regardless of, um, political party, this is not about who you voted for. Well, I mean, it's kind of who you voted for,
Little.
but a little bit, just a little bit. But we're beyond that now. Like we have to think beyond November. That is past. We are on day 63 of an administration that is engaging in open white supremacy. They are putting our national security at risk. They are putting our data at risk. They're putting programs that sustain children and trans communities and elders and
Veteran.
veterans. And let's make that list. It just keeps going. Migrants, women, like this is not about political party. This is about people. This is about humanity. And we, the people, need to show up. And on Saturday, April 5th, I hope that you all come down to join. You can find more information on all the pages for 5051 and Indivisible or Surge. Any group, again, that goes about like finding your issues. Find the group that aligns with the issue
Right.
that matters the most. They will tell you. I did not know about the post office rally, so I missed that. Apparently the post office is not in my lane, but I have bought a lot of postcard stamps in the last.
Me too. In fact,
Well, I
I was
feel like it should
commenting
be
at
on my list.
I was commenting at the rally how I needed stamps, but since the rally wasn't at the post office, I wasn't able to buy stamps at the rally. But Peter DeFazio was there in support, and we know that he has always been a progressive champion, and even out of office, he's there. Well, I am going to say thank you so much for talking to me and everybody about ways to be joyful in your resistance and find your lane and narrow down your focus so that you don't eliminate all the energy that you have for this and for the rest of your life. We're so glad that everybody who's joining us is listening in to Queen Gastro Podcast. We hope you learned a little. We hope you laughed a lot. I know I did. And just a quick reminder, take things slowly and leave a glittery trail behind, and we'll all just be going through this together. Thanks
And
again, Debbie.
I just love to remind everyone that rebellions are built on hope. So may the force be with you.
Absolutely.